And good morning, the Cornbread Man on the Cornbread Man Morning Show. Welcome to your Wednesday, April the 15th. Tax day. Got to get those taxes in if you ever done it. I have not, but I have filed an extension through my tax preparer. There's been a lot going on in my life, and we just uh, didn't get around to it yet, but we are doing an extension. So making sure that we're okay. So a little extra time to sort things out. But if you need to get yours in, get it in before midnight tonight, and making sure that postmark's on there. Big day, big day. Day people don't like, but must be done. So we used to have a guy here in town, and he thought he didn't have to pay taxes, and it cost him. So I know people use all these different historical, legal things of why they don't have to. Well, whether you believe that or not, it will not work out for you if you do not. That just is not a bright thing to do. It's kind of like the sovereign get pulled over thinking you don't have to show your ID. It's not going to work. You're going to end up coming through the window, and we get some extra charges. So I enjoy watching the videos though, just to see how that turns out. Because I had a lady tell me one time that she could actually shoot me as I approached her car. And she couldn't get in trouble because she's a sovereign citizen. I said I wouldn't be practicing that. She actually told me she had drew down on told an officer that and was going to court over it. She didn't do it, but she said she could do it. And you better be glad, said some really choice things. I ran into one time in the course of my job, and it didn't work for her that day either. We'll just say that. Happy Wednesday. We hope that you are having a good day. Let's get our Bible verse in. It's good. They're all good. Let's see here. Share screen. And here's our visual inspiration today. Beloved, if God so loved us, we are also to love one another. 1 John 4:11. Boy, this verse needs to be put in practice a whole lot more by just the body of Christ. Not talking about all these other people out here. I'm talking about the believers. We ought to love one another. Sometimes there's not a lot of love going around among believers. They should be though. There's a lot, but sometimes you run into it where there's not. All right, our National Day calendar today. Go ahead and get that in. It's National Laundry Day. Why in the world would you need a national day for that? I know not, but I would hope that this is not the only day of the year that someone does their laundry. I hope that they're doing their laundry about every day. But I can't get into this one. It's National Glazed Spiral Ham Day. National Glazed Spiral Ham Day. I'm all good with that. Honey Baked Store. I could do that every day. It's Purple Up Day, so I don't have any purple on, I don't believe. I do like the color purple though. If you like purple, today's your day to really go purple. Jackie Robinson Day. A lot of history there. It's National Take a Wild Guess Day. Well, I guess everybody does that about every day because sometimes people ask you stuff and they're like, I don't know. They'll say, take a wild guess. I say, well, okay. Here we go. I'll take a stab at it, and here we go. Errol Friedenberg, God bless you, brother. Thank you for the like. I love your stuff. I love what you put on. You always, of course, your career has been an inspiration, and hey, broski, but your inspiration of things that you remind us of, historical things that come along on the calendar and remind us of stuff. Folks, this is a living legend that has just given like in the Facebook today, and I mean that. A radio guy, of radio guys of all radio guys. We had an opportunity to do an interview with him. Oh my gosh, well over a year ago, I guess that was, Earl. And he is a radio walking encyclopedia, and you won't find a nicer, kinder person than Earl Friedenberg. And God bless you, brother, you and your family. And still praying, brother, on the other. I know that's not easy. Still praying. Hello, broski. Yes, Prince did like purple. Sure did. And good morning to you, too. It's not, yes, National Tax Day, of course. National Rubber Eraser Day. I hope you didn't ever eat those. Remember those stupid games, little kids? I never played those games in school. I'm not doing it. The little eraser stuff they did on their skin and all that. It is also National Titanic Remembrance Day. The maiden voyage didn't do good. What a sad ending for so many people. If you ever get a chance to go to I know there's more than one, but if you ever get a chance to go to the Titanic Museum, I know I go to one in Pigeon Forge. I think it's officially in Pigeon Forge. It may be Gatlinburg. Anyway, or not Gatlinburg. It may be Sevierville. I think Pigeon Forge extends down that far. I'm pretty sure it goes to the bridge. So anyway, it's right there. You get a name as you begin your journey through, and at the end you find out whether they made it or not. And I got to admit, that kind of gets you a little bit, because you don't know. I mean, unless you're carrying around the list, you don't know, and you learn a little bit about them, what they knew, and you're walking through and seeing all the memorabilia, learning about the voyage, the tragedy, and all that. And then at the end, you find out whether they made it. And I remember when I went through, our group, it was kind of a split. There were those that didn't make it or made it, and those that didn't. I was one of those that didn't. And I got to admit, it was it just made me think about it, And in a way, you can say, well, everybody dies. Well, they do. But, of course, this was well before they thought that they would, and what a tragic way. But in a great way, what I liked about it is that they're remembered. I mean, unless there's family on down through the generations who have, not forgotten that their loved one, it's keeping their name alive and telling their story. And that's really our intent, and was always the intent with this podcast. With every interview we do and every person we ever bring up was to tell their story. I really enjoyed our interview this week with our Dirt Report. Those are all inspiring, and everyone is a little different. Yes, they all involve racing to some degree, because that's the intent, but the stories, although having similarities, every one of them are unique. And I'm inspired by each and every one. And this week's was inspiring in many ways, but most importantly was a man who every day gets up and is beating alcohol and going to church and living their life in a very profound way. I appreciate all of the rest of the family and friends who have been following the podcast and interacting with me since that interview. And we'll be having them back on again, as we will all of them. So National Titanic Remembrance Day, that's your national days. Let's see here. Let me see if I can get the other ones up. I didn't pre-pull them up because I ran into a problem here. The technology is unforgiving when you put in the wrong code sometimes, and I put a web address instead of the code on one of the channels, so I had to fix that. It is actress Emma Watson's 35th birthday today. Happy birthday to her. Leonardo da Vinci, boy, he's become in the news a lot in the last few years. His birthday. Happy birthday. Long rest in peace. Seth Rogen is 43 today. Happy birthday. Who else do we have here? Emma Thompson, 66. Boy, that don't seem possible. Emma Thompson is 66 years old today. Chris Stapleton. A lot of people like Chris Stapleton. 47 years old today. Happy birthday, Brother Chris. Luke Evans, 46. I know of his work. Some of these I don't know, so, always fun to look them up. I know there's at least one more. Maybe. A couple of them I don't want to mention. I care not to mention. We'll leave it at that. If it's your birthday today, happy birthday to you. It's always nice to get another birthday in. Well, in the news, they're talking about, we may get another opportunity at negotiation in Pakistan. They say that the vice president says that the U.S. Iran mistrust can't be solved overnight. Well, that's not going to be solved in a heck of a long time because that's just the way it goes. But the question is can a third party help get a deal done? I'd say that this is going to escalate. I think it was very smart to do the blockade of those ships and put the heat on, and that forces people into talking. When you stop them from being able to navigate, sell their oil or whatever. But I this has become. I mean, it's went on. It's at the end of the. We're right at that tail end of the 4 to 6 weeks. I think that 6 weeks is right. We're right at the tail end of that. So I know they wanted to get a deal done. And but internationally get the strait opened up. I mean, you can't be closing off. And they had threat of mines, which we've been clearing those. They have the speedboats. But I think they're losing. I think a lot of it's gibberish. It's just that the people who own the ships told their captains, don't try it. I mean, people thought, how can they close it? That's what I said. It's not really closed. It is the threat of. So there shouldn't be duties and charges, tolls and all that being charged on an open international waterway. And there's tons of these around the world where people could do that. And you can't allow it. The nations of the world have to stop it, no matter what's happened, no matter what the Middle East, what it's like, what the heat is, if it's hot or cold or whatever. That's a point to cause pain for the world. Well, just can't let it happen. And yeah, I'd like to see us diversified out. But even if we weren't taking one item from that area, you can't let any country do that, because if they get away with it, then what other waterways are going to be closed? So we have to keep those open. And so when you get this settled, I just doubt very seriously we're going to get unless you go in. I don't think the enriched uranium, is ever going to be gotten. I could be wrong. I've been before, and I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong. Without a surrender, which is not going to happen. Didn't think that ever was going to happen. Without, there's just no way to get it unless you just know where it's at and you do a special ops and you go in and get it. I just don't think that's ever going to be a part of a deal for this. And they have dealt a blow. They have gotten, pushed them back on being able to do damage. Of course, they can still do some, but it's been diminished. Straighten this out, get a deal, and they're talking about more than 5 years where they don't even attempt to do. I don't know that any of that's worth the paper it's written on, but if they could get something that goes out for 20 years or whatever, if they get something like that and they get they're leaving the ships alone and not trying to close that, I suspect we'll have to run military operations through there for some time, just cruising up and down the strip. I think that they'll begin to pull back. So there's a lot of pressure being put on, and the other countries are putting pressure on now. It's not just us now. It's starting to impact a lot. I mean, there's thousands of ships stacked up. So in that way, it's not just us. We're just taking the lead on it because we're the military presence there, and I think that would get solved. But I'm still a little bit shocked that it's the vice president that's going and leading this. They talked about that the Iranians didn't have trust with their envoys and other people in the region. Would they have much any more than with J.D. Vance? I just don't know. They say the first meeting they had settled some things, but not on the major points. So we still have a week left in the ceasefire. And of course that could heat up, but I don't think that's going to happen. Now, this is not going to be tied to anything Israel's doing, because honestly, you're not going to be able to. You can put pressure on American. I can do that, but we can't ensure. So this is a deal for our part, and then get the heck out, and then they can deal with Israel however they want, and that's just the way it is. If it's tied to it, we'll never have it. So. It is good to know that the Israelis and the Lebanese are having face-to-face, and maybe they can marginalize Lebanon it's really a shame. Lebanon should well, it is good experience for Broski, and I was thinking that as I said it, that in the back of my mind, I'm thinking that it's being used as a political later for in elections for that. So but thanks for bringing it up because I think that's a good point. That he does get some of that international, diplomacy and all that, but I think I'm just thinking they could care less. I do agree with that point. I was just going to say on Lebanon that Lebanon is another one of those countries that it could be, it could be one of those, wonderful tourist experiences. It has a lot of history there, going way back, has biblical history, and there could be so much that could happen for Lebanon if they could just get the terrorist part out of it. Um, and maybe they can. Maybe they've dealt them a blow, but Hezbollah is bigger than Hamas ever thought about being. And I was a little bit shocked to hear that the press was trying to say that Hezbollah has been, I mean, almost to the point of being, I will say this: Hezbollah is funded a lot by Iran, so that has been hindered and hurt for a point right now, and they have been hit pretty hard, but they're still there, and they're very very strongly. But if they could get a country that's willing to work it from, if Lebanon's leadership is willing to, they've always been a proxy. They've always been a proxy for Syria. I mean, for these terror groups. But if they could get the strength to deal with their own problem in that, it would be better. But I have no inkling that it's going to become that. I think it's always been just a crap hole. I hate to say it like that, but that's what it is, and it's going to continue to be that. And it's unfortunate for the people of Lebanon. It's unfortunate. If that's your country, think about it. I mean, you're correct, and that's my point. I was headed to that. You're right on it. Uh, it was forced by us, undoubtedly, to move along these negotiations with Iran, and it is a show. That's not going to bring a. Let's just think. There's not going to be an open border. There's not going to be a lot of people flowing out of. You know, coming out of Lebanon into Israel, and Israel, and it's not going to be. There's not going to be a tourist town set up on each side, and having a Las Vegas Riviera type, whatever. That's not going to happen. It would be great, but it's not going to happen. Jordan's one thing, Lebanon's another, and even still, Jordan, there's still some distrust there, but it's gotten better over the decades, and they do have a close working relationship. I will say this though, Broski, about J.D. Vance and going to Pakistan. I know they wouldn't do it. It's a nice show, but all the fighter jets escorting the plane in, I was like, one rogue pilot, dude. I know they have countermeasures on that thing, but seriously, one rogue pilot. I'd rather them just be up there with our guys escorting them, saying, yes, you may come across the border and escort your. And we may have had some there, but it was a little concerning to see a lot of Pakistan's fighter jets surrounding the Vice President of the United States' plane as they come into Pakistan. There's a lot of people in Pakistan, millions upon millions upon millions of people who hate the United States of America. I was like, okay, that's something you just don't see every day. So we'll see where that goes. It feels to me that we're trying to rush through some kind of a deal that we can make the announcement and claim victory of some kind. And what will happen is each side will claim victory. The Iranians will claim that they stopped the infidels, the great Satan, all the expressions they can stand, and they can say, we did it. We stopped them. We're still in control here. Like Alexander Haig said, I'm in control here. I'm in charge here, whatever he said when Reagan was the assassination attempt on President Ronald Reagan. We're still in control. We're still in charge. We backed them off. They can claim that. That's very important in that part of the world. They like that. And then we can claim that we have weakened them. We have a deal on nuclear aspirations by Iran, and we have neutralized the enriched uranium threat. Inspectors are going to be allowed in, not from us, but from some international community. I'd say that's going to be some part of this or whatever they've agreed to. And by the time people realize that ain't really going to happen, it's going to be the next administration will be in. So that's what I think is going to happen here. So yeah. Well, I said I like to have faith, but it's faith. You gotta have faith rooted in good things. I'm not saying any of that will happen. I'm just saying I think that it'll happen just as easily. What could happen is we could start bombing again. I mean, it really depends. If some major target was hit, I would say that would open up again. I really do. Um, because the Israelis at the same time, we joined in. This is our partner, so to speak. They actually did more hits than we did, although we did a lot, 13,000 plus. I think they were always ahead of us. Um, they say the mission is not over until the Iran regime falls. Now I get it. There's a lot of the populace of Iran want that to happen. I would love to see that happen just for that. Hopefully they could get a better leadership and life would be better for the women there. And the problem we have here is America cannot be into. I mean, really, regime change for us is that would come from a ground invasion where Americans are not going to support that, and I don't think that we should support. I mean, I just don't think that that's something Americans want to see as body bags coming back for that, and I don't. That's not going to happen. It'll happen on special ops. It's not going to happen with the Marines on the ground taking the hills around Tehran. I just don't see that ever happening in the present context. Doesn't mean it might not happen in the future, but I don't see it happening now. And but I do see it's still going to be ongoing conflict with Israel and other, them and Lebanon. There's going to be continued stuff there. So, but that can't be a part of our deal because you're trying to control what somebody else is doing, and we can't control that. We can put pressure on, but we can't control it. And up to a point, they will support it, but to a point. So, so you got 2 days into the week, so that leaves a few days for negotiations. Of course, the president could always extend that. The Democrats, meanwhile, are saying that they're going to work feverishly to limit his war powers, and they're also introducing what is it, the so-called 25th Amendment or whatever. I say so-called. I'm thinking that's the one where, you know, never has been really used except in times of incapacitation by the president for surgeries or whatever, that the transfer to the vice president is done for a few hours or whatever while surgery is going on. They're going to try to do that. It was always talked about for President Biden. It's not going to go. That's not going to go anywhere. They won't get enough support, but they'll get a good show out of it. It'll be a discussion point. But if they win the midterms, and there's a good possibility they could, there's always a possibility. Razor at the end, then there's things they could do because they could block a lot of things. There's still things they can't stop him from doing, but they would work together to do that, to cause him pain at home and get his attention here. And that's going to be on this. So I don't know. This is such an unusual time that we never see in presidential elections, and it's just a different one. We've never dealt with one like this. Normally the second part of the second time for a president to serve, a second term, is usually dead in the water. It's usually not filled with anything productive. There's people that'll be pulling away. Like I said, I anticipate after the midterms, there's going to be people that's going to be pulling away, getting out of this thing before it gets really ugly, and they'll move on and write their books, or they'll move into some private industry or whatever, or they'll be on the TV somewhere. There'll be people that will pull away. There'll be some that'll stay with him till about the end, or maybe the end of that term. But usually those terms are really not productive, and it's usually not good. And the further you get into it, like the last year of it's really becomes lame duck. But this is a different one, and who knows what's going to happen. But it could be very ugly in the second part. And the president has been lashing out. Very strongly. We're not even there into that part yet. And there are a lot of people that was he was with. He says they're traitors now, and he's thrashing them into oblivion. Now, I will say, you know, I don't. Whenever the Democrats always talk about morality and the morals of stuff, and I just kind of roll my eyes because of things that they are for and support, and willing to go on that hill and stay there and die for it. But I will say that I didn't. The president's explanation. He looked very uncomfortable explaining his so-called Jesus picture. He seemed very uncomfortable with that. It the explanation didn't fly, and he has been taken down. Rarity for him, and it was a misstep. I would just say, and this is not just for him; it's for any president. I think any president would be to a point. You can criticize faiths, but you got to be careful with that. And you need to be careful. Just be careful with that. He's different though. He's always marched to the beat of a different drum, and he marches very differently on this matter. He don't care, and so I would just say though, it's probably not. I don't see it being very productive. There's always going to be that part of his support base is going to say yes, full steam ahead. There's going to be others going to say I'm not liking that. I'm still supporting him. I'm not liking that. There are those that he has thrashed in the last week or two that say, like Riley Gaines, that say I still support the president. I don't get offended real easy. I've got thick skin, whatever. But I'm sure she didn't like that. Her, things that she had to say. But it seems if you criticize the president, he's, you're done. I would just say that he seems to turn on, and this, what I think will happen is that's going to happen more and more as this thing goes on, because at some point you lose your effectiveness, realizing when people you get closer to the end than you were at the beginning, and you can't go further with that. Those teeth are not as sharp, and if they're looking to the next administration, that's where a JD Vance, whatever, he may start getting that support. They may pull away from him and say, I'm a conservative. I'm supporting JD Vance as the next president, or whoever. And they may not vocally say it, but I think more and more you'll hear that. I think that's, unfortunately, I think the last 2 years is going to be filled with a lot of that. And we'll just have to see. I don't know. We can predict the future. Not very well usually, but it's nice to look and kind of have an eye, how we think it's going to go. The future is the future. Only God knows. But they did say 6 ships were turned away back to the Iranian ports. There was talk of a Chinese ship that did go through. I don't know. I wasn't there. So we'll see what happens. Before they say that Iran is making more oil than before the war, which, they can make it, but they got to store it somewhere unless they can get it popped out or shipped out. Another headline, the Saudis are urging the U.S. to end the blockade. Well, of course, people want this done and over with. And the U.S. rejected, of course, the 5-year nuclear pause proposal. They want more. I'd say at least 10 years, but it may be more than that, and to push it out there or something. So we'll see where that kind of goes. And King Charles is headed to the U.S. to restore Trump's friendship. Interesting. Roski says again, pardon me, I agree with his criticism of the Pope, but that picture was unnecessary. I understand Trump is going to do Trump, so I'm not getting hyper about it. Yeah, me neither. He does joke around. He does have a sense of humor. I think you got to have some thick skin, but he does need to repent for that picture. The picture was wrong. I don't know of any Christian that would care for that. Can you imagine? Can you imagine what would happen if he had portrayed, not that he would, but if he had made himself Muhammad in that picture? Where would we be today? Christians are always expected to just suck it up, look over it, whatever. And I think that, as someone who, I don't know, I've heard different things about him, whether he ever claimed. Some say he had converted to Judaism. Some say he has no faith. Some said he's a Christian. I'll tell you who knows, and that's God. I don't know what he is, but he has been friendly towards Christianity pro-life and things like that in this part of his life. There's been a time he was very pro-abortion. I don't know where he stands. Men can change. I don't know where he stands inside. Who can truly say? But what I would say is that his evangelical support is a lot, and that was uncalled for, and it's just not a good look. Look, he could have dressed himself up as anything else. I mean, he could have been, a knight on a white horse coming in, or swinging a sword, or he could have been anything he wanted to be. That was just not the image that he needed to do. He overstepped. Whether whoever he had do that. I mean, he's not. I'm not thinking he used AI and set the desk. He had somebody get that ready for him. But interesting. By the way, there's a book that's came out from a guy that used to work. He quit working with him in 2017, Alex Jones, and he is really is a tell-all book. And of course, he was involved, and he said that he the videos and some of the stuff that they used. It tells some goings on. This could be sour apples, could be a way to sell a book. But if you like that kind of thing, I forget his last name, but look for it. There's a book that's just coming out, and he worked for I think about 4 or 5 years with Infowars and Alex Jones, and it's out there, and he has a lot of claims in it, and it's interesting to say the least what they have released. So just know that it's out there. I thought about reading it. I don't know if I really want to. I've always taken those things kind of with a grain of sand. There's a pure lot of entertainment. Alex Jones was right on several things. I did buy one of his books, and all he did was quote people. Really, that's all he did was tell what other people said in the book. So it wasn't him saying anything. He just put down and we would say the same things. I supported what he said in the book from these globalists and things like that. So he did have some value in some things. He was entertaining, but he was also at the same time crazy, absolute cray. I mean, stuff that he was doing on there was way over the top. He looked to be red faced, and this is what the challenges is the guy's bringing out. And he was dead wrong on some things that he said, and he's paid the price for that. But it's interesting. I was for that. Dr. Trump, nobody's buying that. No, that it just was not. I mean, he didn't even look comfortable saying it. I will say this about what the clip that I've seen of him explaining that may be the most insecure, not confident that I have ever seen him be of any time I've ever seen him on screen, ever. He did not look confident, and he actually stumbled on his words a little bit. And he actually tried to change the course a little bit there at the end. He absolutely did not look confident in responding to that. And that's not like him. So it hit hard. He's getting hit from a lot of people. But, I mean, his enemies are going to always do that. Once again, he's going to be fortunate here because Christians will forgive and just say, listen, it was wrong, move on. We got a lot of big fish to fry here. I'm not going to get bent out of shape over a picture. It was wrong. You should say it was wrong. He will. He's kind of like that. I think he's that kind of guy where he can't do it. He can't say I was wrong. I don't think he can say it. He will always word salad. He's going to be word salading around this one, and he kind of has in a bad way. Honestly, if any criticism he gave of Kamala or anybody else, he looked horrible in that interchange. But Christians will say, okay, move on. Let's not do that again. His enemies will continue to try to use that. People that support him are not going to be, the people that jump ship were never really there anyway, I would say. But, there's going to be some that's going to come out. They're going to be crying the tears and saying, I supported him all these years and he has hurt me. And come on, we got to be a little bit thicker skinned than that. Like our leaders have never made a misstep before in something they've said or something they've done. He did. He's done it. He's not going to. What he will do is he will point things at other people, and he will find a bigger issue or whatever, and he will get the heat off of him, and the enemies will continue to use it. But yeah, Dr. Trump, he would have looked. I mean, what if that image had been him in a doctor's suit with a syringe? It could have been worse, I guess. It's just come on. I mean, if he had come out and put a crown on his head like he was king, a lot of people would have laughed at it. I mean, they would have said that's just Trump being Trump. And but because you bring in the religious part of it, which I said he needs to be careful with. Where's all the? I mean, is the religious advisors around him, or are they saying, "Mr. President, please"? Maybe they are, but are they scared to say that? Afraid they'll lose their position. He don't like criticism. He doesn't handle it well uh, at all. What do they say? Do they bring it up if he doesn't bring it up? All this team of faith people around him. Does Franklin Graham say, "Mr. President"? Does he counsel him? I think his daddy would have, and I think he should. That should be private, but he should recognize and say, look, if this was my attempt. He could always, feather it. He could say, "This was my attempt. It didn't come out that way, and for those that are offended, I'm sorry." But I don't think he'll ever do it. He's just not geared that way. He's not going to do it. But they're going to get some mileage out of this one a little bit. So we'll see. Leah Barden, the White House Director of Cabinet Affairs, is leaving the administration. Like I said, you start getting people pulling away, going to join a Washington-based public affairs firm, marking the latest high-level departure as official shift toward political and private sector roles ahead of the midterm election cycle. Politico reported Tuesday, this is from Newsmax, Barden will become executive vice president at the Sovereign Advisors. The firm was founded by Taylor Budowich, a longtime confidant of President Donald Trump, who departed the White House last fall. Barden played a central role in the Trump administration, serving as a conduit between the White House and federal agencies. As Director of Cabinet Affairs, she was widely viewed as a key coordinator of policy implementation, events, and presidential directives across the executive branch. In her new position, she's expected to work on Budowich's political initiative, Innovation Council Action, which has pledged $100 million for the 2026 election cycle. She brings an extensive network of relationships with cabinet secretaries, agency heads, and senior diplomats. Her departure comes after the White House Deputy Chief of Staff, James Blair, who is transitioning into a political role aimed at boosting Republican efforts in the midterms, according to Politico. So this is going to continue to happen. And it's not just a Trump thing. It is, although it may grow a little bit more and quicker than it would in a normal election cycle. The second terms are filled with this. People are, and listen, it's not just about anything that, pardon me, that the president is doing or what's going on. These roles are tiring. They are 24/7 roles. You lose a lot of sleep. It's a grind. You're away from your family a lot. Any of those roles, and especially now, they're high pressure, and it is everyday pressure. In one term, you take one term, you start getting. I don't know how long she's been in there, but these that have been with him a long time, they'll start showing it. He will start showing. I mean, he's honestly, he's amazing in his strength and how he's able to keep tackling things. But it's Washington. Serving in Washington is very demanding, and things happen, and you're required to work early mornings, late nights. You miss a lot of sleep. You miss a lot of events, and then you can for the rest of your life, you've got that on your resume. But to do that long term in those roles, one, you're not going to do that because new administration will come along. Sometimes people will transition from one to the other, but usually not much. And they're in those roles for a short time, and then they leave. But the pressure is intense, no matter who is in office. On that note, I have noticed that Marjorie Taylor Greene has been much more vocal than I thought she would be. And it makes me wonder if she is not looking at another political run of some kind. She has been speaking out a lot more lately. Clay Fuller was sworn in. I think that was yesterday from the 14th district here in Georgia. So he will have to run again, but he gets to finish out the term. So he's officially now a part of Congress and will be at going into action or into his role. So that also happened this week, and so we will see. We will see what happens. as they go forward. But I just think that it's you're going to have to run again. That's a little difficult, but he'll be active for a while. Thank you for the follow. The Rumble Bot says we appreciate another follow Rumble. Always appreciate that. These cold mornings have just get me choked up. I'm sorry. Tonight, just to give hello Simona on Instagram on the tonight. I may have an interview tonight. I've got a contact today with a retired Marine who also has done some historical things. We'll try to arrange that for tonight, and I will reach out today. 6 p.m. would be the start time for that, and we'll just do it under the history show if we do that. Probably do some news tonight as well, and maybe sports. We do have an interview Friday night and Saturday morning of the Dirt Report. We'll be doing pretty heavy going live the next few days. My son was out of town, so I was a little bit more away, not able to, and just spending time with my wife. Y'all continue to pray for her. I thank you for the prayers, the untold thousands that are praying for me and my wife. I appreciate it so very much. She's resting a lot more these days, and so I'll just pray for her. Broski says, towards the end of his last administration, Trump got into a weird let's hire women agenda that apparently carried over to this term. He has surrounded himself with a lot. That is true. He has surrounded. And you think that is maybe Miss Trader Girl? Well, that's what he would call her. But she has flipped. She's wanted to be on the in crowd. She has totally flipped against MAGA. Honestly, I mean, I don't know. She is almost sounds progressive, I guess you would say. Weird. There was an interview the other day, and I was like, is this the same person? Is she even the same person? She is a chameleon that is really trying to change her colors. It makes me wonder. I'm just in the weeds over here. I'm just watching things as they go by, and I'm wondering, what is she up to? What she's got the new hubby to be. I don't think they've gotten married yet, but she said yes. He said, and his connections, and what are they creating here? What is the vehicle? I haven't figured that out yet. There is something going on here, and maybe I'm missing the point, but there is something going on here with that, and I'm just wondering where it's going. What is the well, a lot of people would say that, but I will say she knew how to connect with the voters in her district until she didn't. And it still stings here that she didn't finish out her term. People don't like that. I don't like it. You finished the job. You finished the job. And I don't like that she jumped like that. Disappointed, definitely, that she did that. Clay Fuller, wish him the best. It was a lot of people vying for that. There'll be another round of them coming up. Boy, I'm going to tell you, the political contacts have increased. My phone gets them every day. I've been getting them from the Dooley camp, from the Kemp camp. I don't know who else. Burt Jones. There's a couple others. Mike Collins. I had a guy contact me. Put a Mike Collins sign in your yard. There's one already there. They just do off these lists, and so it's going to heat up in a great way as we get into that political season. Well, I mean, yeah, things got tough and she ran and then switched sides, but she definitely, her color is different. It's a lot more blue in it now. Fact, I mean, she just really did change, and the tough talk, and it's almost like it's like two different people. She reinvented herself, and she's lost. Well, she might as well now. I mean, she's lost full support, mostly the support of the MAGA crowd. There's still a lot of people in this area would vote for her because they just loved her, but she's lost across the country. I mean, people are really angry. I still see it. So, and listen, if you're not going to run for anything, she can just be out there. Like, they could be, who knows? They could set up a lobbying group. There's all kinds of things that they could do. Just the freedom to do that. And there's one thing about it. She has made herself into someone that can get the microphone put in her face anytime she wants. So there could be television. There could be she could become. She already did a podcast while she was in there, and I've watched it a few times. Who's to say that she doesn't go into media of some type, lobbying? I mean, there's a lot of things that she could do to set up and keep herself out there in the front. And when she's with a media guy, so it stands to reason. I kind of think that's the direction she's going. Although they could be building a way to become, maybe they've got ideas to move into a different area and become almost a little bit more independent or whatever. I just think that it's a media operation. She's going to continue to keep putting herself out there. She took a break, but she's on screen quite a bit now. I mean, we're seeing a lot of interviews with her and the people she's interviewing with, they're all leftists. I mean, she's like talking to them they're like kumbaya, singing the same song almost, shaking hands. It's like we're friends now. They're just loving it, using her because they want to hear her say bad things. They don't like her, never will. But she's definitely carving something out. Listen, I would love to interview her. I tried a couple of times. I just never got approved. I talked with her staff. She got a lot of requests, but I did in her district from from here, and have been to some of her events. I tried to get her. I gave them tons of time. I was trying to get 15 minutes, but and that's a lot, honestly, with someone on that level. But wasn't able to get it rounded. Get it pulled in. But they do get a tons of requests, so. That's just one of those things that just didn't happen. But I did reach, and I don't mind reaching. Hey, just people to me. I don't care. We all come. We're humans, so. But and one day we'll continue to reach up. We're getting some, and we'll get some more. So, but I would love to have talked to her during the time, and we already had a list of questions that we were going to ask, and then leave her time to cover whatever she wanted to cover. But we had just a small number of questions. And they were really wide ranging, and um, a lot of them were dealing with the 14th more so than. But I was going to ask her a couple of international questions. We had a couple of national questions, and we had the rest were from the district things here at home, which is what people wanted her to focus on a lot. So we did have those ready to go. We were prepared. We reached out 2 or 3 times and put you do what you can. I mean, I was trying to work the sides of the street that I have connections, and it just didn't get there. So one could have helped me more than they did. They should have come on as well. Said they would, and they didn't. So they're now out. I will leave that person nameless. I'm not here to burn bridges, but they could have done a lot better with us on that, and they didn't. So, but I mean, who knows? Maybe we can reach out now. Maybe we could get. I'd be interested in an interview. I would love to have that. So, my video from somewhere. So she's still got a team around her. So who knows? I'm sure that's very guarded right now. But I would love to have that. I don't know if she's moved. I'm assuming she still lives here in the district, and but is around a lot in DC a lot doing things. So we will see what happens with that. Um, like I said, tonight we probably will have the interview. We'll do a news, kind of catch up a little bit what's going on. The Braves in sports. The Braves had a nice game last night where they came back. They've been really struggling. That was a nice ending last night and got the win 6-5, I believe that was, over the Marlins. Enjoy that. Next week, a week from tomorrow, we're going to be live during the first round of the NFL draft. Just having conversation about each team and each pick, and kind of where they're at, and talking about their team, while that time frame's going on, and looking from the college player to now the soon-to-be NFL player, and that'll be fun. We'll start that at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will have a show before that, probably at 6:30ish or 6, might even be 6. We'll have a show, maybe take a short break and then come back in. But I'm planning to go live for the duration of the first round, and we will have some more time on that over the next few rounds. So it won't be the whole time, but we will do quite a bit. Love the NFL draft. Looking forward to that. I've always look forward to those times. I like the NFL. I mean, I don't like what they do, but I like football. Love football. I love to follow my team, and different ones. So look for that to happen, God willing. We always have to say that. We never know what's going to happen in our lives, but that is the plan. So we'll see that. We're loosely talking about a live remote for this weekend. There's an event going on in right next to the town we're in that may involve kind of maybe coincided with the interview we have with the dirt track racer. So we will see. We have made some calls and chasing down different things, and so we may do that this weekend on Saturday. So just a couple things that are on the horizon that I know. We have an interview with a farmer that it goes way back. This farming family goes way back. They've asked me to wait till mid-May, only because they want things to be really, because we're going to do. They're going to show things from their farm, and they wanted it to be in the growth cycle to be really in. So mid-May, and they said it would be the greatest time. So we've talked to them, and they're we'll I'll just tell the name later, but just give you an idea. They've been around for a long time, and it's here in Georgia, and they have accepted and want to come on, and looking forward to it. But we're going to get back into. We always like to talk to our farmers and that struggle, small business. So we always do that. So be looking for that. We have one of the owners, the husband, me and him have talked, and I don't know if it's going to be him or her. He said she's more of the media person, but he was excited about it. And we'll be talking about that. But in the state of Georgia, and talking about farming, they do many different things. And they've been around over 100 years. My understanding, if I remember right, over 100 years of farming here in the state. That's impressive. And I'm looking forward to talking to them about that. So, we're always looking and reaching for new interviews on many different subjects. Look, I'm trying to put together. We haven't done a wrestling show in a while, but I'm trying to put together some folks, some legends, maybe a legends. Get a couple. There's one that I'm reaching out to and hoping I can get a couple of them to come on, and we'll talk about the history of wrestling and their career and stuff. So we'll see. Well, again, just different taste. I have different things I like, and so we're working on that as well. And that's just the tip. I mean, there's just so many things that we're looking at in our book series and authors. Uh, we're continuing to bring in authors. There's one that's still out there, and his wife is in bad health, and we've had to just cancel it for right now. But we've got another one that we're trying to work on. But I understand his wife is having some real difficulties as well, and you've got to be there. You should be there. And so he pulled away all media, and he hated that. But I understand that he should. So he just couldn't do it. He said to cancel all media for the foreseeable future. So he was actually going to drive here. He wanted to be in studio, so he couldn't leave her, and it just things took a downturn. So that's I understand that. Trust me, I understand that. Don't forget our Substack. You can see the QR code. We've had it for a long time. We've always put shows there, but we're going to start putting some other things there, and we're going to be going live to Substack and live from Substack. There's going to be some Substack only broadcasting we're going to do. So we've got some things we're cooking in the pot, as we'll say. But that's the show this morning. I do need to get going. I got to get. I'm heading back to work. I took a few days off to be with the wife. I'm going back to work today, and it's good to be here. Yesterday we were up in the middle of the night, worn out. I slept through what would be the show time or most of it because we were up in the middle of the night in caregiving. So that's the way it goes. That's okay. It's all right. I'm going to miss some things here and there. But everybody have a great day, and God bless America. We'll see what happens. We'll catch up on the news tonight, and hopefully have a fun interview. So we'll see if I can arrange it. Look for that around 6 p.m. Cornbread Man is out. Let me get the music pulled back up, and that catchy song that kind of gets in your head, and at least what Broski said. So, and pray for the rest of our team, especially Daryl. I know he's had some health issues going on. New man on the team. He's trying to get back, but he's got some struggles going on. And Jerry's camp meeting's going on. This will be the third meeting of that. Pray for him and his church. He'd appreciate that. And if you're in the area of Oxford, Georgia, attend. Go see him. He'd love that too. Cornbread Man is out. Take care. God bless. And we'll see you this evening, God willing. There it is.